Hey YouTube, it's Adrian. Just before we get you to this video, do me a favor and head over to pageantlaunch.com. We are starting the world's first dedicated pageant review site, and I would love for you to join our launch team. All you need to do is put in your email address. It's completely free. We are looking to make a pageant industry that is safe, transparent, and fair. I know it's like that most of the time, but over the last year, it's become very evident that it's not like that all of the time. So head over to pageantlaunch.com, put in your email address, and let's get you to this video.
Hi, my name's Aryana Neo and I am Ms. Diamond UK 2018, and here is my interview with the Pageant Project.
Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project. I goofed that up a little bit, but I am here with Aryana Neo, who's Miss Diamond UK 2018. Aryana, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now it is, I've got to do my calculation, it's morning, late morning for you in the UK. It's
Yes.
8 p.m. here in Sydney. It's actually quite civilized for a change. I'm normally up at 6 a.m. Aryana, why don't we start with the easy stuff. Why don't you tell us a bit about your pageant background, how you got involved, and how you got to the title of Miss Diamond UK?
Okay, well, do you know what? I've been doing pageants for so long. I would say I'm really experienced in partaking in them. I didn't win loads. So I've done, Miss England, Miss Universe, Miss Earth, Miss Supranational, going back when I was 18, 19, long time ago. And then a couple of years ago, I did compete in Miss Galaxy, which was amazing. And then I came second runner-up, and then I did Miss Diamond. And to be honest, I'll be honest, as everyone knows, I entered that quite late, but I wanted to keep the momentum going, and I wanted to just keep being on stage really at that time. And I guess it was my time, and it was amazing to win that. It was such a great experience. I was really shocked. And Diamond is amazing because they embrace women of all diversity and everything. So it was amazing. I got to go to Vegas, and everyone who knows me knows I absolutely love Vegas. So that was the best time ever.
Okay, so I've got two questions to ask. One obviously is more about the Diamond system, because I could be wrong on this, but I think you might be the first person that I've interviewed from the Diamond system. Let's go back to the very, very beginning. What got you involved in pageantry to begin with?
So I was at so we've got a Birmingham fashion show that happens, where it used to happen. I don't know if it still happens. It was a huge clothes show that used to happen. And someone actually approached me in there, but I think I was about 16, 17, and it was to do with Miss England a very long time ago. And I remember having a photo shoot at this place called Fairlight Studios, and that's kind of how it got me into it. And I think then I did Miss Asiana, which was one of the regionals for Miss Universe, and that's the first time I met Paula. That was such a great experience. I came first runner-up, and that was kind of like my first major pageant. I was wearing if you see any pictures, I was wearing like a really horrible old school bridesmaid prom dress, purple. Really wasn't great.
High School Musical type dress.
Yeah, and I think back then it didn't seem like the gowns were as amazing as they are now. Ball gowns. Mine was very plain, very, very plain. But it was great. It was a great experience, and I think that was the first step to my addiction. That was it.
Were you looking for anything in particular in terms of personal growth or confidence or anything like that? Because very often, in fact, most of the case, the girls who enter in the beginning are looking for some sort of journey.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think it was something that I was always intrigued by. Aishwarya Rai and Priyanka Chopra I used to watch them in Bollywood, and, they won Miss World. And I think it was always something that felt a little bit inaccessible. So obviously when it was there, and I thought, do you know what, just give it a go. What's the harm? I do remember thinking, I'm not going to do this like 100 times. I can't do it. And obviously you do check out the other girls, and you do think, and back then as well, I would say I was less confident then, so it's definitely made my confidence grow. And obviously people know now that there's no point comparing yourself, but at the time you do. And I was very young and naive, and I think it was just something that I really, really loved. And then you end up getting into the pageant world, whether it's like the underworld of pageants, where, because there are some
The
pageants
underbelly.
which to a certain extent, there are some pageants which some girls will know that, were used to be run atrociously. And, I experienced all of those. So you do get the bad times as well. And then you just keep going and you build so many amazing friends. And I think once you see how people transform and how they change, that's when you really grow into the pageant system.
Mm. How would you, I'm just going to change us over to this view, Aryana, see how this goes. How would you say you've changed through your pageant journey? Obviously, it took place over a period of years, so people change normally and have a period of growth anyway over those years. But how do you think pageantry contributed to who you are now?
I think it's contributed a huge amount. I think when I was younger, I'm quite open about it. I had quite a lot of racism and I had a lot of stigma attached to a lot of things. And I wanted to just be myself and be me and be able to be on stage. And I think I've always been a little bit extra, and my family would say that. And I've always just wanted to be that, the winner of something. And I never really won anything before. So I think the whole growth of learning, how to talk in an interview, how to carry yourself on stage, wear appropriate clothing, be able to talk to the press. I think it's all massive learning curves. And I've learned so much throughout my whole pageantry life.
And tell us, as I mentioned, I think you are the first person from the diamond system that I've interviewed, certainly the first title holder. I hope I'm not wrong on that. That could go really badly. But can you
I haven't seen one, to be fair.
No, but when you've interviewed as many people as I have, you tend to start forgetting. As horrible as it sounds, but can you tell us more about the diamond system in particular? Because you mentioned a lot of different systems, including Galaxy Unit, some of the biggest pageant systems in the UK, if not the biggest. So from your perspective, what was special about the diamond system?
For me, the diamond system, it felt accessible. That was a great thing, because I think sometimes you can be daunted by pageants, and the fact that this pageant was local to me, because I love the fact that it was down south, and everything's up north, and I love the northerners, but sometimes it's nice to have something down south. And it was just such a great experience, and everyone's very close knit. So Tina and Danny, the directors, really look after you. And when we went to Vegas, it was absolutely amazing. It was like a family abroad. It was just an experience that you could never ever forget. And I'm sure everyone that does go to internationals has a similar experience. But with Diamond, it was really, really good. They get you like a little treat when you were there. So our treat was to zip line across Fremont Street in Old Vegas, which was one of my bucket lists. So that was amazing. I think some of the other girls, the year after, they went in the helicopter, which is amazing as well. So it's just, there's so many opportunities, and you're meeting all these amazing girls out there. You have the chance to obviously work with a lot of the US people again. Even if you came top 3, you can go back again. And I think you just really, really widen your network, and it's just amazing. Diamond System is really good. And if anyone's not been in a pageant, it's a really good place to start and end, to be honest.
Of course. You mentioned ziplining, so I'm assuming that you don't have a fear of heights then.
Well, I mean, I will at
you
the time.
don't anymore.
No, and I do want to jump out of a plane, but I don't know how and when I'm going to do that.
With a parachute, I'm assuming.
Oh, yes.
Okay, skydiving. Just not just jump out of a plane. Guys, I can see a bunch of you watching. So if you haven't seen one of my interviews before, if you comment under this video, if you have any questions or messages of support for Aryana, then not only will she be able to see them, but I'll make sure that she gets them and she answers them. Tell us a little bit more about Vegas. I've been talking with a friend of mine over in the UK who's mad about Vegas. She goes all the time, and I've always wanted to go. How was Vegas? Because I always feel it's a place you either love or you hate. I don't think you can be indifferent to Vegas.
I don't know, before I'd ever been, I'd actually been the year before, and my husband now, he proposed to me there in the Grand Canyon, and I absolutely, I fell in love with it. It was just the best place. And I think you think it's all these things, but actually you can go there, you can go and see, I went to see Celine Dion in concert, and she lives there like as a family with her kids. Yeah. I'm a Celine Dion fan. No comments on that, please.
Well, embarrassingly, so am I.
Oh, good. Good.
We won't
And
sing together just yet.
maybe one day. So I saw her in Caesar Palace, but I think she's stopped now, hasn't she? Anyway, another conversation. It was so good, and everything is so big. Like the buildings are amazing. Everything's amazing. It's somewhere you've got to experience, and you can do
Yeah.
in quiet. You know, just go to restaurants. You can go to the back street and be full of lights. You can do casino. You don't have to. There's so many things you can do. I don't think people should be put off by the fact it's Vegas, the hangover, you know, all those kind of things. It's
I
really
don't.
somewhere you've got to go.
None of that stuff has put me off. I just think it seems like a complete. I don't think it's America. I think it's Vegas. I think it's its own little, almost its own little city, little country. I mean,
Yes.
I did hear that it, obviously with Corona, it closed down. I think they were just now trying to reopen it. So hopefully
They are
soon.
trying to reopen because I've had the emails.
Oh, you signed up to all the email list, have
Yeah.
you?
So we stayed at the Golden Nugget, which is in Fremont,
Oh wow.
Chicago,
Okay.
Vegas, and that's
Yeah.
where we stayed with Diamond. And so they emailed me. I signed up. They're open.
I have to ask, how is a Celine Dion concert? I mean, she's going
Oh,
on, she be 50 now. How is that? I've been to a concert over here in Sydney, but it was like ages ago. What was it like seeing her in Vegas?
oh my goodness! It was literally epic. That's the only way I can describe it. It sounds like you're listening to her on CD. It's bonkers that she can sing like that, and that she's amazing. And the show that they do, obviously you've seen her when with Titanic and the rain and the water comes, and it's honestly amazing. And she's actually really funny. She does a lot of
Yeah.
chatting in between, which apparently her producers are like, come on, move on, and she gets it in her ear. She's like, I need to hurry up. And she's actually she's quite the comedian. So it was amazing.
She's a little bit quirky. She's that French
Yes.
Canadian, little bit of an odd sense of humor. What song did she finish on?
Oh goodness. That's a question. I know Titanic was maybe second to last, and then she came
Okay.
back. I really can't remember. I've got millions of videos, but I can't remember.
I'm always
Sorry.
fascinated to see these big artists. What's the last song they perform? Because normally it's the biggest one,
Yeah.
but not Titanic.
It might have been Titanic, to be honest. I'm not 100%.
I would bet that it would either have been Titanic or her very first one that kind of made her big in the West, The Power of Love. Anyway, let's move on to other things. So, Miss Diamond, that was back in 2018. So, have you put the pageant career on hold for now? Is it over for now or not sure?
It's definitely not over. I got married the year after, and my Diamond family were there, which was amazing. And they were screaming because when I cut my cake, we played a Diamond kind of song, so that was good. And no, it definitely hasn't finished. I'm a missus. I'm really keen just to get into that category because I think that just opens up a whole different round of questions and things that you're going to get asked about your marriage and why that's important to you and things like that. And it's a different category, so I want to give that a go. Obviously, COVID-19 haven't been able to do that. Everything's been on pause. A few people know I was going to go for a couple of things, but we'll have to see. More time to prep.
I did speak to one person, a very young person, who jokingly, she said this as a joke, she was young enough to be in the teen section. Then she said her plan was to age up, go to the Miss, and then marry and do Mrs. and then get divorced and go into the Ms. section.
Oh, no.
She said it as a joke, to be clear, but it's like, oh my God, I think you should have said that publicly. With Corona, obviously, we don't really know what's going on with any of the systems. I've posted today that was it International, Miss International, the international pageant has been cancelled. Universe, the International 2020 has been postponed to next year. So at the moment, we really have no idea. There's a lot of issues that are probably bigger than pageantry at the moment. Aryana, can you tell us a little bit more about your life outside of pageantry? And I'm sure it's fascinating because your Instagram handle is Aryana Presenter. And I'm sure that Presenter wasn't your maiden name. So tell us a little bit more about your life outside of the crazy pageant world.
Yes, so I work for BBC Radio Solent. At the moment, obviously, things are a bit changed at the moment, so there's a little bit of a pause. So producing is my main thing there, but I've presented a few shows there and hopefully get to go back once this is all changed again. I also work for Unity 101 FM, which is the South Coast Asian and Ethnic station, which that again is like a family, and that's how I kind of got into radio, and they trained me up and you can't really like leave once you're in there. It's amazing. It's such a family to be a part of, and it's also about sharing, other people's stories and getting their voice heard on these kind of platforms and getting them into the mainstream radio as well. But I also work as a business engagement manager for the Business Improvement District, so looking after the city and a lot of commercial and business things going on, and getting new events in, getting new funds in, and looking after all the businesses really and making sure they're okay, especially during this time. I don't know whether I was the lucky one or not, but I've been furloughed. So I'm paid, but I'm not at work, which some people are envious of, I guess. I'm itching to kind of get back, just because I'm normally busy and I'm normally at work from the morning, and then I used to walk over and go and do BBC in the evening. So I was literally out all day. So then to do nothing is it's a bit crazy. But doing lots of other stuff at home and things like that, different courses and things. But that's kind of my outside life. Currently living with my parents. Now, before anyone says anything, had a big wedding last year. So me and my husband are living here, and it's great. I mean, I don't know if they think that, but we like it. Got my little white Pomeranian dog, which I always like show on Insta and things, which people must have seen. And yeah, that's about it. I'm ex-criminology degree. And I've done lots of random things in my life, which I'm really proud of, but it comes under the presenter kind of bracket. So that's why I've changed
we need to dig into the criminology degree, because I've always said as a joke, although it's not a joke, you'll see when we wrap up that one of the questions I ask revolves around like dream job. And the most common answer to that has been some sort of forensic psychologist. It seems to, for some reason, whatever that says about pageant girls, that they're fascinated with criminals and criminal psychology. I know. So what got you involved, and what made you pick criminology as a degree?
Do you know what? I think I was always fascinated by law and also CSI and all those programs everyone loved. And I think it is like that to a certain extent. At one point it was a while ago now, but on one of my modules, we had to put the whole white, I don't know what the jumpsuit on, and do like a crime scene. You do a lot about policing, politics, terrorism, looking at all the previous attacks and things like that. And it's really, really interesting, really, really interesting. I think then to go into a career as a criminologist, that was something that I didn't want to do in the end. And that it was more, really diving into like the social aspect and the sociology and psychology of a criminal and criminal behaviour, which is very interesting. I think you have to definitely have a good passion in that and really want to pursue it.
So do you find yourself kind of using that? I have a degree and I've not used it at all. It was maths, space and science. I've not used it at all. Have you used your degree at all in day-to-day life or pageantry?
Well, I'm not a criminal, because I know it definitely can set you up to be that. It's you do look at things probably in a more open mind, and you can look at the nature versus nurture whole story and how people become that way. And I think it's helped me in the sense of pageantry when it comes to looking at things in a different perspective or looking at people. And I always look at someone and think, if they're a bit stressed, or everyone's got a story, so you don't know what that is. It could be horrific. And a lot of criminology, if anyone's ever done that, you are watching some horrible crimes that sometimes you may even walk out. A lot of people walked out in some of the lectures. You were allowed to, because they were quite strong. So I think you're definitely exposed to a lot of serious things in that degree. And I think that can definitely help later on, for experience, and also when you meet people and you're hearing their stories.
So is it fair to say that nothing in pageant land fazed you if you can deal with criminals and their psychology? And I've heard some graphic stories. I've been told a lot of stories by pageant girls. I've been fascinated, as I told you, by people like Ted Bundy and things like that.
Oh, goodness,
so
yeah.
Everything in pageant land, by comparison, must seem quite sedate.
Oh, it's a walk in the park. No, it's not. Nothing really phases me anywhere. I've got quite a thick skin, so it's just interesting. I just find people fascinating.
Yeah, sometimes they're fascinating for good reasons, and sometimes you find them fascinating. Please. Anyway, the work that you said, was it for the Business Improvement District? I can't quite remember the name.
Yes, it's called Go Southampton. So I live in a town called Southampton, and they've called it Go Southampton. So yeah, it's Business Improvement District.
Right. And I just want to ask you, in terms of businesses, obviously with Corona, a lot of businesses have been hit very hard. A lot have closed. And Australia
Yeah,
just recently announced that we're officially back in recession for the first time in almost 30 years. So just
right.
from your perspective, when Corona does end, whenever it does end, how do you see businesses sort of bouncing back, especially the smaller businesses?
Mm. Well, I know, obviously, I'm not actually working, but obviously, I can read things and obviously, I
Yeah.
know what's going on. There is a recovery plan in place for the city, and I'm sure other business improvement districts are doing the same. And I think a lot of small businesses have been hit really, really hard. Some have closed. There were some government finance available to try and help businesses continue. So I think quite a few people have obviously applied for those, and whether it's a loan or a grant, I'm not too sure what it is, but anything to try and help them. And obviously, it would then be us and obviously the public to just get their confidence back, to go back into the city, to really, make that city thrive again and get everyone to feel confident again. Because I think people will feel anxious, people are
Yeah.
changing their businesses, having the 2 meter apart rule. And I just saw Uber, they had said you can't, no mask, no ride. I saw that. So
Oh, wow.
things are changing. So I think it's all kind of happening, obviously slowly, and they've been given the heads up. So our big city shopping centre, and they needed a lead up time. So yeah, I think it's definitely hit them hard, and I think it's just about regaining confidence and getting the public back out there.
And what is the state of lockdown in the UK at the moment? Because every time I ask this question,
It
people
changes.
seem confused. They don't really
Yeah.
know what's going on. So what's the official word on lockdown at the moment, at least for businesses?
Well, I mean, some are opening. I think it's the 15th is when some more can open, so less
Right.
vital ones. But again, so shopping centres and things, shopping markets, sorry, they're open, supermarkets. But again, you're queuing outside, and I do find it frustrating though, and I've got to say it. Like when I have gone to the supermarket, people literally just come near you, and whether that's because I wear a mask, so I'm one of those. Sorry, I do. I wear a mask, and
That's
people either come near you because they feel like well, we won't catch anything because she's got a mask on, whatever. But there's also personal space. Where's the lack? Nobody cares about personal space anymore, and you'd think people would want it a bit more. It's crazy. You see all the drive-throughs that they're all open, and people are queuing down the street for them, which I don't know if they're worth that, but I guess people want them. They want their comforts back. So yeah, things are opening. I don't know what the official is. I know you can meet in a group of 6, and you can also meet someone from another household. I think recently they said you are allowed to, don't quote me, but potentially you're allowed to hug your parents now or something like that from another household. But again, it's nothing really concrete, which would be great, And once they say lockdown is lifted, I think everyone will be a bit more understanding of it. And obviously, with all the protests and things, it blurs the lines a little bit on, who are going out and what's important and things like that as well. So.
Do you have any sort of read on when we might get back to, or when the UK might get back more to normal? I mean, I have no idea.
I mean, I personally think properly normal would probably be the end of the year. That's my personal thing. I'm thinking Christmas, that might be the best time. But for actual, everything going back to normal. I know music festivals and things like that, nothing's happening till next year. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I heard that Coachella has been cancelled. So there's a lot of the 2020. I think a lot of people said, and I myself included, that I wanted 2020 to be different. And I think sometimes you have to be
Yeah.
careful, be sure, and have to be a little bit more
I
specific
mean,
by different.
definitely. And I wanted to get married this year because I didn't like the thought of getting married in an odd number. I know that's ridiculous. Thank goodness I didn't, because we went into lockdown on the 23rd of March and my wedding was 30th last year. So thank goodness for that.
Dodged a bullet there. So you didn't want to get married in 2019. You wanted a nice 2020.
I know. I don't know. That makes no sense, but that just sounded better. But as we know,
I
2020 has not turned out right.
Well, I have a friend over here in Australia. Actually, her plan is to get married on the 10th of October, so 10/10/2020. So you're not the only one who's had particular
Okay.
dates in mind for the wedding. Not that I know that she's going to be able to go ahead at this rate, but
Yeah.
yeah, I do think
Mm.
2020 sounds better than 2019. Can you tell us more about the work that you do presenting? I know so you're not presenting at the moment, Aryana?
No, not at the moment. Studios and things are locked down at the moment. But
Right.
what I was doing before all of this was I was producing the Early Late Show, which is on BBC Solent, which is a local station, and then also presenting some shows as well, and then also presenting for Unity 101. And normally there's three of us, Veronica, Keisha and I, and we do Vibrant Vibes show every other Saturday. Now, what we've been doing, and Veronica's been amazing at it, she's been doing it all from home. So we've been doing interviews on our phones and things like that, and just kind of adapting. So the show is still going, but not in the studio.
Right. And what's a lifestyle of a radio presenter like? I know that one of my friends, Natalie Pavlek, who used to be Natalie Pike.
yeah.
I know that she does presenting work on radio. I think there might be another one as well. What's a day in the life of a presenter like? Is it early mornings, late nights? That's what I've heard.
For me, it was late nights. Our show on BBC was 7 till 10, so I was there from 6 till probably 10, a little bit later. Then also had my day job, so I was out all day. And then for the week for the community radio station, it's 6 to 8 every other Saturday. So that's a little bit more spaced out. But yeah, you can have obviously a normal life to a certain extent. At the BBC, we had people in the show after us, and they would go on till 1 a.m. So their whole day was completely different. Completely on its head, and they have to just change their lifestyle, I guess.
So do you have, before Corona, I mean, did you have any spare time? It doesn't sound like you did.
No, not when I was doing both jobs at the same time. I was going straight to that job and then going straight to BBC, and I'd get back about 10:30, 11, and then I'd see my husband. That sounds terrible.
I was going to ask what you do
guys.
At home, but it doesn't sound like you had any.
No, not at that time. So when we went into lockdown, it was almost like, wow, I have loads of free time, and it was like being on holiday almost, but not being able to go anywhere or see anyone. But our house, we've got a few people in this house anyway, so it's been fine. I'm actually getting too used to it, so I'm a bit worried about going back. How I'm going to do that? It's like 1 to 100.
Have you picked up any sort of new hobbies, or have you done what all the other pageant girls are doing and start baking like it's going out of style? What have you done to keep yourself sane?
Yeah, I've definitely done baking. I love cooking anyway, so I've been doing lots of that. I started doing Alexandra's Happy Body, which I know a lot of the pageant girls are in the same group as me, because we saw each other and we were like, oh, all these pageant girls in there. So we're doing hit workouts and trying to force my husband to do them with me, which is it's been quite fun actually to do those. And just doing like daily walks. My husband's still working from home, so we go afterwards, and maybe we're trying to find different places to go. So there's whenever we find somewhere, even if it's completely dead, you would think it'd be dead. There's always people there though. So everyone's got the same idea. They want to try and go for a long walk somewhere. And now we're allowed to drive and find somewhere. Or like the New Forest is quite close to us, which is quite a nice place to go. So yeah, all of that kind of thing. And I've been doing a lot of pageant training, coaching and all that stuff as well behind the scenes, just to keep refreshed and prepared for when I do come back. For
the comeback probably next year at this rate.
Yes.
Did you say that you're in Southampton, Aryana?
Yes. Yep. From where the Titanic went from.
So can you tell me, I don't know if this is of any interest to the people watching, but I'm fascinated by all the different parts of the UK because obviously I don't live there. So can you tell me more about Southampton? What makes it different? What makes it special / unique?
Okay, so we are like dead in the centre. So, you've got southeast, southwest. We are literally south. So we've got Southampton specifically has got great docks. I don't know what we've got, obviously the beaches and stuff, but it's more Bournemouth way. Southampton is just dead in the centre. Everyone thinks we're proper southerners, they'd say. You'll hear two kinds of, I'd say, accents. You'd have like Queen's English kind of accent, then you'd have a bit more slangier Southamptoners.
And which one is which? Is a Queen's English more south or more north?
Oh, it's more south, definitely more south.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I speak, even to some of the pageant girls that are up north, all the ones that we all know and love, they were, we compare in how we're talking, and it's crazy, and it's amazing how many people you meet just through pageants. To be honest, not too many. I've met in Southampton. I've met a couple. I've met Ruth is in Winchester, so that's like just up the road. So, but a lot of them, and Romy's in Bournemouth, Dorset way. So, but mainly everyone's up north.
Yeah, there do seem to be a lot more up north. I mean, Danielle obviously is down south, and she always says that
Yeah,
she's sort of
London.
down there by herself, and she always needs to
Yes.
sort of drive hours and hours to find anyone. The thing that fascinates me, I don't know if well, maybe for you guys, it's just the work you do on radio, you take for granted, but the number of different accents that you guys have, given that the UK
Yes.
geographically is a lot smaller than Australia. But
Hmm.
in Australia, we tend to all have the same kind of accent. It's just like how extreme an Aussie accent is. Mine is very mild. Then you have, if you go sort of into the outback, the very quintessential, very heavy Australian. Whereas you guys
Yes.
have your Brummie accent, your London accent, your
Hey, you
Cockney
Brummy.
accent, and then you've got the Scottish, then the Irish, and then the Welsh. And do you have any difficulty understanding any of the accents? I still am boggled by every time I speak to someone. I can't wait to find out what their accent's like.
Yeah. No, not really. I'm not boggled. I literally am one of them annoying people that I'll hear an accent and then I want to try it. So I'll start doing it and I'll just keep doing it and I'm like, oh my god, shut up! What am I doing? So I love all the accents. I love meeting people with new accents and trying them.
Do you
But
do
yeah, I
any
was
good
watching.
accents?
No, let's not go there. I was watching.
I always ask.
I was watching something Australian the other day. I think it was border security. That's how fascinating my life is
Oh
at the moment.
gosh,
And the accents
I
there.
haven't watched that.
I love it. You see what people are smuggling, and you think, "What are you doing?"
It's horror. The show they have, it's always they make it out to be some huge dramatic thing. And normally, what it is, it's very often a Chinese person, and they're bringing in some fungus or some one of them brought raw meat, not a word about it.
Oh,
It wasn't refrigerated or anything. Raw meat into this country,
that's just
and
madness.
their reasoning was like they couldn't get that meat here in Australia. They thought they couldn't get pork here in Australia. And I'm just watching this. And I go, I can't stand the stupidity. But
It's
what
brilliant though.
you were watching the watching. Do you enjoy that show?
Yes,
I can't
I
watch it.
really
The
like
level of
it.
stupidity.
It's one of them programs that when there's like nothing else on. I'm a proper TV buff. Like I absolutely love TV. So even when I'm doing something which people probably hate, I'll be reading a book and I can still have the TV on just in the background.
Oh,
And
it's
and it's true. I quite like it even if it's on low. It just feels like atmosphere. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. And yeah, border security. Just loving all the accents and what people are bringing through is madness. It's mad.
it's really. I feel sorry for the border security people at times hearing these excuses that they
Yeah.
have to hear. What
Yeah.
shows have you been watching in lockdown? You said you watch TV. So
Oh
anything?
goodness. So I love The Bachelorette. Have you ever seen that? This American Bachelor
I'm
Bachelorette.
getting
You
the
don't know what
feeling that you
is.
have a junk food TV diet. This is how I'm
Oh
going to
yeah,
just
trash TV. Trash TV. My
reality TV
favorite.
junkie.
Yes, love it. I love it. I mean, I like all my documentaries and stuff as well. And we watch a lot of Netflix and new films and a lot of like crime documentaries, which again is quite weird. Love it. But yeah, I love The Bachelorette at the moment. I'm obsessed. It's amazing. And she's a fellow pageant queen. So
Oh, really?
yeah, she was in Miss USA and she was, where's she from? That's not good. Her name's Hannah Brown. She's the Bachelorette at the moment.
Okay. Do you watch Love Island? That seems to be the huge one in
Yes.
Pageant.
Yeah,
Okay.
watch Love Island.
What's the
But
difference
obviously it's not on at
between
the
Love
moment.
Island? Well, what's the difference between Love Island and Bachelor? I've never watched either show, so I've no idea.
So obviously Love Island, they're stuck in an island, all singles, and they kind of just, hook up. That's basically what they're doing. They're doing little tasks. It's all about love on the island. So that's quite interesting because you're just watching lots of arguments and people getting together. Bachelorette is one lady, so this was the ex-pageant lady, and she has, I think it's about 30 men that she has to date and choose from. But they go across everywhere. They've just been to Amsterdam, they go to Iceland, I think, and they literally go across the world. And it's amazing. I think it really transforms their lives. So when I saw that she had got it, I thought, oh my goodness, she's ex-pageant girl, and she was one of the so the Bachelor had to pick from one of the girls. There was two pageant girls in there then, and yeah, it was just amazing that she got it. I was like, go for her. Good for her.
It does seem to be a thing in pageant land. Love Island, in particular, seems to be a huge one. You've seen some Australian
Yes.
TV. Have you? I don't know even if this is Australian, but have you seen Married at First Sight? Because that's
Yes,
the
I
one
have.
that blows my mind. That's the one that scares me, to just get married to someone without having any
I
idea who they
know. We had a UK version of that, and they didn't actually last. And I met the groom.
are. Of course they
He's a
did.
crazy guy. Well, you never know. It happens. It does happen.
Yeah. I wouldn't say the odds are good given how many marriages fall apart. Probably shouldn't be talking this to you as a newlywed, but I just heard the premise of the show, Married at First Sight. Like, are you really serious?
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you believe it, like love at first sight, or I don't know. Back in the day, people used to get matched up, didn't they? So I guess I don't know. Some people do it as like a not a business transaction. That's a bit of a strong word. I mean, this is who you're marrying, and you just have to make it work. Like it's not. There's no option of divorce and things like that. And I think a lot of people still think like that. So if they want to do Married at First Sight, go for it. At least I get to watch it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It sounds like an interesting diet that you have on the TV. Aryana, we always wrap up with the same 10 questions, but before we wrap up, I'd like to give you guys a chance to do shout outs. So is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to for supporting you along your journey, whether it's pageantry or just life in general?
Oh, goodness. Oh, now I've got loads of people to shout out. So definitely Danielle, she's been amazing. Beth, amazing as well. Who else? Zara Morgan's been absolutely amazing. Even people like Holly and people, my directors Tina and Danny, like they've all been really supportive, and all my sister queens from Diamond. I'm still in touch with the majority of them, and it's just great to see what they're doing. And then I've got to give a shout out to my husband purely because he's probably watching in the other room with my dog. So yes, and that's about it for shout outs, I think.
Nigel Batten, I don't know if this is someone that you know, but he has said,
Yes.
looking great, Aryana Neo.
Thanks, Nigel. He's actually going to do an attempt of swimming around the Isle of Wight, I believe. So good luck for that, Nigel.
Wow, that's not something that I would think of doing. What does your husband make of the whole pageant thing?
Oh, that's a question. Then hopefully, because I know he's watching, so I have to be diplomatic. No. Okay. So when I first started, he hated pageants. Like, to be real, he didn't like them. He really thought it was like toddlers and tiaras, that kind of thing. And obviously, in the beginning, it's quite competitive, and you can get very into it and in your own head. I think as you get older, or maybe if you just have more experience or a bit more switched on, I guess, you can really just blend into it and just realize it's more of an experience. It's, meeting amazing people. Obviously for me, it was always I want to win, which I think I put too much pressure on myself, and you do that when you're younger, and I think now I wouldn't do that, and I'd enjoy it a lot more. And if you win, I think that's like the icing on the cake, but you always have to act like a winner, and obviously prove why you should have the title and things like that. So I think he never liked it. I think now I don't know. He watched me win Diamond, and obviously he waved me off at the airport because he couldn't come to Vegas again. But yeah, I think he's getting there, but it's something he has to deal with. So
he doesn't get a choice.
Yeah. Well, I have to watch. He's an Arsenal fan, and we've got to watch football. Obviously, at the moment, it's not on, which was amazing, and then now it's coming back, and I'm like, oh no, it's coming back. What do I do?
That is, so I take it you're not a football fan.
Do you know what? I've said to you before, if we can be in like a pub and we can watch it from the beginning to the end, I can't be going halfway through. I love the World Cup and all things like that, and the Euros and things like that. That's like everyone's getting involved. But just to switch it on, no. Which I know, like Natalie, she presents for Man City and things like that, and so she must love football. I'm not really a football fan.
No, I can't quite get over how passionate most of the people in the UK are about not only football but also the rugby. You guys are absolutely crazy when it comes to how.
That's more fun to watch, though, Adrian.
I wouldn't know, because last time the Rugby World Cup was on, I was in Wales seeing at the time my partner. And every time there was a match with Wales on, you could tell, because the streets were absolutely chock-blocked. You couldn't go anywhere. I didn't watch any of the rugby. I was just stuck out in the middle of Wales, freezing to death, going, why are there so many people? So I found out why. I probably wouldn't do that again. But Natalie knows a lot about football, much more so than I ever will. Aryana. Okay, let's go through these final 10 questions. This is the most pageant-esque part of this interview. Question 1. What is your favourite word?
What? My favourite word? What, that I say all the time? Or just, is this a quick fire round and I've ruined it?
No, you can take it. Danielle, the first time I interviewed Danielle, she thought it was a quick fire round, bless her. But no, you can take your time. Just what's a word that you really, really like, or overuse is another thing that people have answered with.
Oh goodness, fabulous. I do say that quite a lot.
That's actually what Danielle answered the first time. Fabulous.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a UK favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Question 2. What is your least favorite word?
Keeping it clean. That's hard.
Yes, please. Not for my sake, more for your sake.
Yeah. I don't really like it when people say mate. I know that it's a standard word, but they're like, all right, mate. I don't know. I just don't like it. So we'll go with that.
Well, if you ever come to Australia, then you better bring earmuffs or something. I don't particularly like the word. It is. Mate is one of those words. It depends how it's said, because sometimes it can almost be like a derogatory term when someone addresses you, like they're being very blunt. It's almost like saying you're stupid if they don't like you. On the other hand, it can be very friendly. So I think it really depends on how it's said and also who's saying it to you. It needs context. Question 3. In life, what gets you excited or what turns you on?
What gets me excited? Fun, like literally anything fun out there, like just doing something fun. I'm there. It could be anything from like festivals or wanting to jump out of a plane. I just want to do something fun. That's what I like to do.
What's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
Spontaneous thing? Oh, my life is spontaneous. I don't know. I'm literally, everything I want to do is, let's just do this. Let's just go here. Let's just, I don't know, travel here. I think I forced my husband to get in the helicopter with me in Vegas, which was good for me because he proposed, but for him, he was not good because then he threw up. So that's kind of spontaneous because I was like, we have to go in the helicopter.
Hang on, he threw up before or after he proposed?
After.
Not a good thing to throw up before you propose. It's not particularly romantic.
Oh, no. Yeah, it was the best.
I'm beginning to feel sorry for your husband here, if I'm honest. You seem to drag him everywhere. Question 4, what turns you off? So question 3 was what turns you on. Question 4, what turns you off?
Drainers, like people that are like so negative and drony and like I can't stand it. Because some people are just like that and I get it, but I just can't be around them. I can't.
Yeah, I can.
And they would probably really hate me anyway, so I'm just too much for them. So
it does. For people like that, you've got nothing in common with them anyway. So live and let live. Question 5: what sound or noise do you love?
Oh, the pop of a champagne bottle. I love that sound.
Is it because you love the sound or you like what happens afterwards?
I went with both. I mean, if you've got something to celebrate, why not?
Fair enough. Okay, question 6. What sound or noise do you hate?
I hate when people are chewing. I don't know if that's a thing, but I absolutely hate if someone's like chewing. Oh, God, no. It just annoys the hell, it grates on me.
You mean chewing like with their mouth open, with their mouth full, and you can hear the chewing sounds?
Yeah, or chewing gum, like, oh God, no, that's just too much. I have to leave the room or normally tell them to leave.
I've had people answer that several times.
Oh, really? Okay.
One young queen answered that it's so bad for her, she will often just start crying when for her it was people chewing crisps, so a bit differently, but that crunchy sound would just make her start crying. And then I had one very weird person say that she likes the sound of that because the whole ASMR thing and people like listening to weird sounds. So
yeah.
It's not for me. It's definitely not my favorite sound. Question, I think it's 7. What sound or noise? No, 6. What sound or noise do you hate? Oh no, we've done that.
We just did that one.
We did the one. So 7 is if you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Oh, see, this is hard because not always, don't always think about this, but invisibility or flying, that's the key, isn't it? Really, because you can be invisible, but then if you could fly, I love to travel, so I just like to go everywhere and just not have to pay for the flight. Coronavirus, fly, maybe that.
I always worry about the people who want to be invisible because it's always you want to get up to mischief when you're.
Well, yeah, that's
It's a wearing
true.
one.
We'll go with flying.
Fair enough. Question 8. What job or occupation other than your own would you most like to attempt?
Ooh, attempt? I don't know, but I used to want to be a pop star. That was like my thing. So, you could just say
Celine
that.
Dion.
I'm not going to attempt it now. Oh my goodness, Celine Dion. Imagine being Celine Dion. Oh,
I can't imagine what it's like. It must be
God.
very far from my normal life.
Oh my goodness, she must have people to like stir her tea and I don't know, do everything for her.
Probably. Do you like to belt one out in the shower or in the car
Oh
karaoke?
yeah,
Shower?
yeah, that's me. That's me.
Okay, all right. Has your husband commented on your singing at all?
Yeah, he has. He has commented. I try to get him to sing all the time because he's got a really deep voice. So I was thinking if he sings, then he could be like Barry White and we could do it together. But no, trying to get him to sing is hard work.
This is another thing that you've forced the poor man to do.
Yeah, there's a theme here.
Well, what does he get you to do? I mean, you get the poor guy, to do so many things, including making him vomit before after he proposed. Well, he must get his own back. What does he get you to do?
I don't know, really. He likes his own space. We're like completely opposite. He's very like he likes his downtime. Like that's his thing, really. He has his own things, but we'll keep them off camera.
Okay, all right, enough said. Question 9, what job or occupation would you definitely not like to attempt?
Oh, that's a hard one. Maybe like a gardener. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know. Not like a gardener, sorry, like a tree surgeon. You know, like someone that goes in the tree and cuts the tree. So I saw that the other day and it looked very, very dangerous what this guy was doing. So maybe not that. I don't know if I'd get joy of doing that.
How dangerous can a tree surgeon be? What was he doing? Was he sitting on a branch and sawing it at the same time? Was this another one of those reality TV shows?
No, this is real. I was taking the dog for a walk and there was a guy telling a younger guy what to do. And the guy in the tree obviously was new and it just, it didn't look like he was very comfortable. I was thinking I need to walk past quickly in case he falls.
I've never thought of tree surgeon as being a particularly difficult job, but I'll have to take your word for it. I mean, I think some people, Anyway, let's move to the final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, I don't know, like, she's home, something like that. I don't know. She's fabulous. I don't know. I don't really know what's the thing that they need to say. Yeah, just something like that. Something fun.
It's a question that has had a whole range of answers, I can assure you.
I can imagine.
Okay, so if your husband, what's the name of your husband? What's your husband's name?
Andy.
Andy. So Andy, if you're watching, bless you. Sounds like you have to put up with a lot. So good man you are. And Aryana, thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
And thanks to everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next time. Hey guys, it's Adrian again. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to head over to pageantlaunch.com and join the launch team for our pageant review site. All you need to do is put in your email address. Thanks, and speak to you next time.